Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the September 5th and the September 19th City Council meetings. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We're almost to fall here, one day before fall, and it sounds like it's going to be like summer-like.
Our first day of fall should be 90 degrees.
Yeah. Only in Minnesota, right? But as you said at the council meeting, we did pull out the plows in June, so, you know.
Yeah.
You never know around here.
Like to mix it up, keep it interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are into fall here. We had our 2 September meetings. We'll just jump right into things here. One of the first items we talked about at our September 19th meeting was a proclamation September 21st as Anoka Ramsey Community College Nursing Day, and you read a proclamation for that.
Yeah, so Anoka Ramsey Community College celebrated 50 years of being open, and now we're celebrating 50 years of graduating nurses from there. And it's an excellent nursing program. You can get a 2-year or a 4-year nursing degree there. It's the lowest cost nursing program in the state of Minnesota. Fabulous. They have a great partnership with Mercy Hospital. And they said that it's literally thousands of nurses have come out of there. I thought it was like 3,500, but I don't remember the number now. But it's significant, and it's really important as we're all aging, and we're going to need more health care. So it's a good thing.
I remember, seeing we all are aging, this could have been 5 or 10 years ago. I feel like we did stories on when they had big waiting lists for their nursing programs because it was in such demand. They had people out there at the crack of dawn waiting in line to get enrolled up at Anoka Ramsey. So.
Yeah, and I think they've probably expanded it now to meet that need. But no, it's tremendous. And as you recall, Anoka Ramsey was ranked in the top 10 for that Aspen Award this year, which is just huge. I mean, for us to have a top 10 rated community college in town or college in town, and a hospital ranked in the top 100 that's partnering with them on their nursing program, this is such a great thing for Coon Rapids.
Indeed. All right, you also read a proclamation declaring October Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes. So we have a great partnership with the Alexandra House, and they're going to have their annual Walk for Hope coming up September 30th out at Bunker Hills Park. So to kind of kick that off, we read the proclamation. So Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And they're a great partner for the community. They're wonderful to support. And we just encourage people to participate in any of the fundraisers they've got going. And the Walk for Hope is a very nice event out there.
Yeah, I was out there one year, I think it was last year or the year before, recording some of the video. They had a perfect day, and a lot of supporters definitely doing good work there. Yeah,
it was very nice. It was a perfect fall day, and it was great.
All right. Council adopted a resolution accepting the 2018 grant for full-time DWI officer, and we were talking about this. I thought this might be the second year, but it's already been happening for at least 3 years, we think.
Yeah, 2015 was in the details. That's when this started, and we have to renew it each year, and it's for a full-time DWI officer, and it's a really nice asset for us. Unfortunately, we make the list of 8 counties in the state of Minnesota that has enough issues with DUIs that we qualify for this grant. The upside of this grant is we have an outside entity paying for one of our force for working in Coon Rapids. And if we ever get into a bind, although they're exclusively for DWI enforcement or DWI enforcement, if we get in a bind and need an extra hand, they're available to come over and assist. And if it goes beyond 15 minutes, we just have to reimburse the program or it's something like that. So we've got the officer at our disposal, and yet they're also working in town on the DWIs. So.
Okay. But their primary purpose is DWI enforcement and taking drunks off the road.
Exactly. That is their job, and the grant covers the salary, the benefits, the vehicle. I don't know. It was like $107,000. I think was the grant.
Quite a bit of money there. That helps certainly, and that raises our sworn officers from 64 to 65, and then when the grant's over, it goes back to the 64.
Well, if
it's not,
it ends,
but it's a 1-year grant, and it has to be renewed. Correct?
Yeah. And what I learned was I just assumed that we had the same officer doing this each year, and what happens is one officer can really only do this for a while, and then you kind of burn out because you're only dealing with one segment of the society. You're only working during those bar hours, and you're only dealing with drunks.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? And I think you sort of just kind of burn out, and so they rotate through that position. I don't know how often they rotate, if it's annually or 6 months, but they do change out that officer.
Plus, I know when we used to do stories way back when on this, it would take a long time to, I mean, you stop a drunk driver, it was a 2-hour process to get through all the stuff you needed to do in the paperwork. So I don't know if any of that has changed, but it's a timely process.
Well, then the court, and sure. Yeah.
All the follow-up. All right, so we will be continuing that here for another year. Council considered a resolution and adopted resolutions awarding contracts for the Coon Rapids Boulevard and the Main Street lighting installation. I feel like we've talked about this a couple times.
Well, it's a big project, and I can't be more excited to finally get the lights replaced up by Riverdale. You know, we've had those. I've always thought about them as the old Dancing in the Rain guy. You see that one little spot of light under the light on the street. They just never really were very effective lights, but now they're rusted off on the bottom. They need to be replaced. We selected new lights. They've been manufactured, and now we've just agreed to a contract to get them installed. So it'll be the lights along near Riverdale and along Main Street, and those are a pretty simple process because you're reusing the base and the wiring and the conduit.
Right.
Down on Coon Rapids Boulevard from like the university exit over to Flintwood or 91st or whatever it is. It's a much bigger project. If you go through there, you'll see those white light standards with those little white globes that look like they're right out of 1977. Probably are. Those had wiring just buried in the ground, so that's a much bigger project because they literally have to run all new wiring and conduit and bases, but it's going to be the same light standards basically as what's going on Main Street, and it's going to be really nice. Lots of light. Light is welcoming. You know, street lights are one of the first things they look to reduce crime. We've got low crime. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like the Main Street work is going to get underway shortly. They're hoping to have those lights all installed before Black Friday is the goal.
Yeah, well, Public Works Director Tim Hemmer said that was the agreement. That's got to be done before Black Friday, before all the cars are trying to get through there. He said, we don't want lanes closed off for working, while we've got all the traffic up there on Black Friday.
All right, and then he alluded to the Coon Rapids Boulevard work will take a bit longer.
Right, because it's trenching and all new wires and stuff.
All right. Council approved resolutions, 2 of them, for ordering preparation of feasibility report and preparation of plans for street reconstruction we're already talking about for 2018. Seems like we're just still wrapping up our 2017 work.
Well, and we are. And it's another 9.5 miles of streets. Yeah. And it's another year where one project will entail like 29 different segments of streets. So normally we would say, we would list off the streets, right. But it's like, please just look at the map. Because if you live anywhere near now, if you live near Foley Boulevard and your street wasn't done this year, it's probably going to be done next year. It's all these other little segments. And then there's more segments on the west side of Coon Rapids. And it's really important. If you just know that you would get a letter in the mail, you'll get a letter in the mail if we're doing your street. But if you're curious what other streets are going to be done, look on the website.
Yeah, you can look at all that. You can always check out the council agenda and all the background information. The one resolution had 29 different sections and one has 19. So talking about almost 50 areas that will be seeing street reconstruction in 2018.
Yeah, and the rest of that challenge we learned this year is when you've got 25, 30 streets in a project, they're working on it all at the same time. So the people on one segment of the street will say, they're going so slow, they're not doing anything. Well, they're doing the same project, but they're doing it at all these other streets at the same time.
Yes.
So it'll feel like you're not seeing much progress. If it was all one street, you'd at least be able to see them working down the street. Yeah. Right now, you've actually got to go find them. They're working. They're trying to get the project done, but they've got all these segments that you're not aware of they're working on concurrently.
Right, or they start off and doing like the curb work first in the area, then they come back and do the asphalt, and they come back and do the striping. So
they've got to do everything in order because when they bring the asphalt or when they bring the curbing machines in, they got to be able to do all the curbs. Or when they do the asphalt, they run and do all the asphalt. Yeah. So they have to get everything preliminarily set up, and it's like, they're not doing anything. Oh no, I'm sure they are. If you go drive around, look at here, one of these other 25 streets, you go find them, they're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So again, well, look forward to more street reconstruction in 2018. And again, if one of these streets are impacting you as far as an assessment, you will get a letter from the city, and they'll have all those details for you.
Right. Well, yeah. Or even if you're going to be impacted by the street, they'll typically try and send a letter around to you as well. You know, I know there's some confusion where they're going, are we going to have to pay for that? No, we're just letting you know that this is going to impact your life, that this street will be closed. But
all right. Well, more to come on that as we approach 2018. Council also adopted a resolution accepting plans and specifications for bunker renovation. This is at the Bunker Hills Golf Course and soliciting bids. This sounds exciting. I guess I didn't realize it. Maybe I missed it last year. They redid 9 of the 27 bunkers.
Yeah, and apparently the way to originally do the traps, they had liners under them, and then they run sand all the way up to the crest, and apparently that's not in vogue anymore. Okay. And so they changed 9 of them, and it's been the golfers have been really excited about the new how it is, how they play it, and so now they're doing 9 more, and then they'll be doing the 9 following, and they're getting rid of the liners. And then rather than running the sand bunker all the way up to the crest or the edge, I guess then there's like a grass edge from the lip. I wish I could remember exactly how Mr. Anderson described it, but you can picture the sand and then grass and then the edge of the bunker, and apparently that's a better way to play. I wouldn't know. I only look at golf courses.
Yes. Enjoy the nice weather out on the golf course. But in any case, they're going to do 9 more of these this year. They did 9 last year, and then the plan is to do the remaining 9 next year.
I believe so.
So we're talking basically about the must be the short 9 course and then the 18-hole.
Oh, please don't ask me that.
Course.
I have no idea.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah. But what I would like to say is, and that golf course is celebrating 50 years next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's going to be a big year. For, a lot of festivities, I think. Yeah. Around the 50 years, because that's a big thing for Coon Rapids.
Definitely been a gem in this area for that long, many years.
Yep.
Absolutely. Right. That is all we have to talk about from our September 19th meeting. I want to go back now to our first meeting of the month. One of the first items there we want to talk about is approving the Minnesota Super Bowl 52. This is a joint powers agreement with the city of Minneapolis. Of course, if you didn't know, the Super Bowl is coming to Minneapolis in February. Of course, tons of security needed for the thing. And Minneapolis is kind of reaching out to other departments around the state for security.
Right. So this doesn't obligate us to be there, but this creates an opportunity for our officers to participate, to help out, because they need security at all the social events, at the actual Super Bowl. I mean, there's just lots of things that need security around the whole event. And this creates a mechanism for us to work with them. We'll get completely reimbursed for any time they put in there. It's not going to, trigger us to have to pay overtime or anything. And like I say, if our officers want to participate, this creates the mechanism so they can do it.
All right. Well, hard to believe that is approaching here pretty quickly.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It seems like they just said, we have 1 year till the Super Bowl. Then all of a sudden it's like, all right, 5 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So time is going fast there. So
yes.
It'll be exciting to see that. But like you said, that a lot of people come in for that. It's like a whole nother city almost with all the traffic, and I know they're talking about the airport being pretty dang busy once everybody leaves town on the same day.
Yeah.
Because you all come in on a different day, but you all leave like the day after. So.
Yeah. So. And you just hope that it's just going to be a good event. And you almost hope it's going to be really cold, because maybe that'll keep back some of the outside protesters that seem to protest everything now.
Right.
Maybe a good 15 below and 30-mile-an-hour wind might
keep them away.
Yeah.
But I imagine with the Super Bowl being here, hotel use across the metro is going to be heavy. We'll get some of that benefit up here in the North Metro.
Oh, it's the Twin City Gateway Visitors Bureau talks about that. They're not doing any marketing for motel rooms because all the rooms in the whole region will be booked out for basically that week.
So a certain little boost to the economics of this area.
Yep.
All right, moving along, Council held a public hearing. This was for a grant application from the U.S. Department of Justice. This is for some no-shoot technology training.
Yeah, so it's the Milo system, and it's the Milo Range Pro HD Use of Force Judgmental Training Simulator.
Okay.
That's why I read it.
Yes. And we haven't figured out what Milo stands for.
Yeah, right. It's an interactive, portable, high-definition firearms use of force judgmental training simulator, and it's ready to train out of the box with over 450 preloaded interactive force options scenarios and more than 45 true graphics-based skill builder exercises. So currently, they have different exercises that they use, but typically they escalate in their continuum of force. And what this allows them to do is it allows an operator to control the situation. And if an officer is giving good voice commands, they can also de-escalate it. So they can say, you know what, those are very good commands. I think that this person would respond, and they can actually de-escalate it rather than going from voice to taser to firearm. Maybe it'll go to voice to taser to back to voice, and maybe we've got it handled. Yeah. It's a very impressive system. And the other thing that they're currently using is one of the officers puts on their big, it's a big coverall, looks like a set of Carhartts with a mask, and they use that for use of force training as well. So this should be really good. It should allow them to get better training and a lot more practice. So our officers are fabulous, and anything that we can do to support them and being even better, we're all fully supportive.
All right. So it looks like this costs about $50,000 from what I'm looking at. The grant's about $12,000, and the rest is coming from probably forfeiture funds.
Yeah, it looked like there was government contracts available that makes it a little less than $40,000, but whatever it is will be covered. The balance will be covered from forfeiture funds that are on.
Don't worry, that's just the air coming on the ventilation system in here. It's pretty loud.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right. We're all good though.
Wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
And I do think the police chief said at the time when we were discussing this that those voice commands are very important.
Yeah.
As far as escalating or de-escalating a situation. So this training will be great for the officers.
Yep. No, and this will be something now. Every other year they do the Citizens Police Academy, and I would really encourage anybody involved to participate in that. Councilmember Kicker and I did it last year, I think. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's coming up in 18 again then. It's fabulous. It's just really this will be part of that program. Will be this use of force or this training simulator, and it'll be a good exercise.
All right. Moving along, Council adopted a resolution approving the preliminary tax levy for 2018. This is something that needs to be done basically by September, the middle of September. And this just sets the preliminary number, right? It can't go higher, but it could be cut. Right.
This sets the ceiling, and then, I don't know what the chances are that it'll be less, but it in theory could be less.
Right. This is basically part of the whole budgeting process, which starts with the preliminary budget that you guys get in August.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like the department has spent most of the year getting their budget ready for the August workshop, and I guess what I wanted to encourage everybody was to look in your mailbox, and if you've got your city newsletter, everything from the budget is in there. Yep. And the proposed 2018 city tax levy is $26,845,674. Slightly more than the $25,613,000 in 2017. It's impacted partially from the park bond referendum that now we're starting to pay back. And the other takeaway, or the other big thing this year, is that's divided up by how your values are. And our commercial properties really didn't go up this year, but our housing did. Mm-hmm. And only certain segments of the housing really went up, like the first-time home buyers' prices went up significantly. So the ones that are going to see the biggest impact is really going to be those homes. And they get the double whammy, because as their value of their home goes up, then their homestead exclusion, or and it's a different word now, there's a way that you get a credit for your homestead in Minnesota, and the higher the value of the home, the less benefit you get from that credit. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is, it's going to be those homes that will see they'll see a more significant bump than anybody else. And then I wanted to remind folks that if your taxes do go up, to look into the property tax refund, because that will often give you a lot of that money back. it's a tool that gets overlooked a lot. There's a lot of money left on the table from folks that are eligible for a property tax refund and don't fill out the application, don't look into it.
All right. And then as part of the budget that's being proposed for next year, there are 2 new full-time positions, correct? One for the police department and one for...
Right, one for the parks. So
Yes.
when the budget got cut many years ago, we lost LGA, there was all kinds of things, the Depression. So we ended up making some, before I was on the council, there were some cuts made to staff. And the Parks Department kind of took a hit. And now with all of the new parks and all the money that's been invested in parks, we really need to have somebody else there for park maintenance. So that was an added position. And then the police department want a person to engage in community engagement, the Night to Unite, all of the outreaches, and that was also a position. A similar position was cut from them years ago, so this is putting that back.
Okay. So anyways, as far as the levy and the tax impact to homeowners, like you said, pick up the newsletter. You have it right here.
I do.
You should have gotten it in your mail. It just was mailed out this week, so people should be getting those in their mailboxes. And there are some examples on there that kind of show what the impact would be to some benchmark homes that the city follows.
Right.
Of course, everybody has different values as far as increasing, decreasing, depending when they got around to you. So it really is, individual parcel, but it'll give you a good idea of maybe which direction your taxes will head.
Right, and how that's divided up is really it's by statute. It really isn't. We don't have any say in that. Right. So,
all right. Council approved a preliminary plat and adopted a resolution approving a final plat. This is for Riverdale Commons 6th edition. This is going to be for a new building, sort of in the back of the parking lot at Home Depot in that area.
Or the front.
True.
Sure.
Back of the store is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So I mean, for as long as Home Depot was there, they've had a parking lot significantly larger than they really need.
Yes.
And there's a large. It's kind of a green space on the between them and the SA there, Caribou and things.
Yeah.
So they're actually adding some 2 separate retail buildings there. And one will have a drive-through coffee shop, and I believe the other one's going to be some sort of a cafe or something. So we don't know who the end users are,
Right.
But it's a nice fit. A lot of concerns over the additional traffic count in there because that 124th and the River Rapids Drive or whatever it is, that's always such a tricky one because the people coming in don't stop, but the other 3 ways do stop, and so it's always tricky getting out of there. But nobody can figure out a different way to do it. Although there will be a traffic study done, there'll be some different turn lanes added. Maybe it'll straighten it out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. So that will be coming sometime as soon as they build it.
As soon as they build it.
All right.
Yeah. Way after the next thing opens there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is coming up pretty quick, right?
Are we at that
Let's transition to that. We have some new businesses in town.
Okay. So, and one of which is the Golden Corral opening in the old Country Buffet site. And apparently they're opening, got kicked back, and now it sounds like they're opening maybe September 28th.
That's the last thing we saw posted on their Facebook page.
Yeah. So that'll be nice to have that building in use again. And people, Old Country Buffet was always real popular around town.
Yeah.
So we got that. And then we've got the new Urban Air Trampoline Park Urban Air. Yeah. It's down, it's really right on the east edge of Coon Rapids near Northtown. It's in the old Sports Authority space, like 10 Coon Rapids Boulevard. And so that's a nice destination place, a lot of parties. It's got like the Ninja Warrior things in there. And so it's fun to have a destination like that in town because families will come from the region,
right,
to use that. And then they're also going to be using food. And we like people to come to Coon Rapids to shop.
Yeah.
And then hopefully they come here to live.
Yes, exactly. Well, it looks like a lot of fun from what I've seen, and I'm sure it'll get a lot of good use there. A lot of fun going on there. Mm-hmm. One other thing I want to talk about quickly coming up at the Coon Rapids Ice Center, we have a new hockey team that's going to actually play their debut game this Friday night.
Right. Yeah. The Blue Ox already owned by Bruce Boudreau, coach of the Wild. Mm-hmm. They've had 2 road games. They won both the road games, and their first home game is Friday night, the 21st of September. 22nd. Today's the 21st.
Yes.
Yeah. First game is Friday night, the 22nd of September, and it's exciting. And then they've got their second home game Saturday night.
Okay.
So,
Against some local teams, we're hearing.
yeah, Blaine and Forest Lake, I think.
Sounds like,
Yeah, Blaine Moose. I was so excited about the Blue Ox, I didn't even realize Blaine was getting a team too.
Apparently, everybody gets a team.
Yeah,
Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a team. So yeah, that's exciting for the Ice Center, and they're of course the company. They're paying for their ice time, but it'll be a great sort of marketing thing for the ice arena.
Right, and they're bringing in a caterer there so they can actually have beer because you go to a professional hockey team, or game, you're probably going to want a beer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and it's really brought a lot of attention to Coon Rapids, and in particular the Coon Rapids Ice Center. I mean, tomorrow night's Minnesota Wild night, so we'll have several of the Minnesota Wild players there, and to have Bruce Boudreau there signing autographs for all our other hockey players that use the arena. It's just been a really fun thing.
All right, and while we're on the topic of the Ice Center, there's still the farmers market going on, basically in the Ice Center parking lot.
Wednesday afternoons, 3 to 6 through the growing season. Yep, I think I just ran out of my tomatoes from for home BLTs, but yeah, it's great. They've got all kinds of fresh vegetables, and they've got plants and dessert. I mean, just all kinds of things. It's just a lot of fun.
I imagine even pumpkins and stuff now that we're kind of getting into that season.
Yeah,
or you have to
maybe.
check it out to see if you can get your pumpkin there.
Yeah, I don't remember if they had pumpkins last time I was there.
Let us know. But anyways, they usually go through the end of the growing season, so sometime probably into October.
Yeah, probably as long as weather allows. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have to talk about, unless there's anything else you want to add.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we should wrap before the ventilation system kicks in again.
Perfect.
Thanks for being here today, Jerry. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you after our 2 meetings in October.